Hello?
There you are. See how easy this is?
This is easy.
Well, welcome onto our call. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm actually calling this kind of a call or experience, I'm calling it Unveiling the Master, because within you, Yvonne, you have everything you need to just live a beautiful, consistent, happy, and fulfilled life. And what happens is we go along the way, we go through these experiences that really throw us for a loop, and we take on what I call an emotional charge. It's almost like you have an emotional vault inside your chest, and when you go through these kinds of experiences, you put the pain of that experience into that vault, and the vault just gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and there comes a time where you just can't bear it anymore. And then it seems that our higher consciousness hears that call, or maybe we make that call directly, and then all of a sudden people show up in our lives that will help us to put it down. And I'm just one of those people. And when I was going through my own experiences, I had, people show up for me as well. So I'm so happy today, Yvonne, that, you reached out to me and that I could help you in some way to let go of some of the grief that you have experienced. And a little bit of history just for those listening in. Yvonne and I have known each other way back since high school, and we haven't talked in, I think it's over 30 years or something like that. And Yvonne found me on Facebook and connected, and we just started talking, and she started telling me a little bit about what was going on for her, and it was just so much. And I thought, wow, I'd sure like to help, but wouldn't it be great if we could help a lot of people at the same time? And so Yvonne agreed to just be on this call with me, and that we could do this process together for the benefit of many. So thank you for that, Yvonne. And
thank you.
I just love hearing your voice because it's
been,
so many years, and it's just like the years have not passed at all. In fact, we were both married to other people, and those two other people were best friends at the time. So Yvonne and I got a lot of hours of conversation, and, we had some good times just getting to visit and hang out, and our two husbands were best friends, so that brought us very close together.
I was in your wedding.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So there was all kinds of history between us. Yeah. Well, Yvonne, if you would just take a moment and tell me a little bit about what happened to you in the last year or so, and then I can take it from there. But you mentioned, what was it, last May? Is that the month?
Well, it actually started in November of this last year. The year before. My first brother died of cancer, November 20th. And then May, I lost another brother. May 11th, another brother died. May 17th, my dad died. And then June 26th, my sister died. And June 26th, I had a heart attack. And then a month after that, a breast cancer scare that was awful.
That's just too much, on one plate.
Yeah.
I'm sure you knew that. And how, as you experience life today, how are you dealing with all that? Or do you feel like it's all on top of you? Or do you feel like you've moved through some of it? Where would you say you are today?
I've moved through it with my brother's death.
The first one that passed?
The first one I was fine with. And actually, even the second one, I'm okay, because we had a year of getting ready for his passing. And so I said all the things I wanted to say and had a good relationship with him. But it was my sister's death and my dad's death, and that just knocked me flat, and I can't get out of it.
Okay. And, we'll go ahead and get started with this, very simple technique that we use. It's called EFT. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. And one of the things we do, my company is called the Miracle Center of California, is we do a lot of training for practitioners, for registered nurses, and even for individuals just looking to learn how to reclaim themselves in the midst of of very challenging situations that have occurred. And so this technique, what we do is we teach you not only how to use the technique, but we teach you how to use it with our proprietary source technique. The source technique is a series of questions and a methodology to help us to get to the root cause of any problem. And, today we're dealing with very specific situations, but as we work more together, we'll find out that there's even things that happened prior to this time that are also adding to the emotional negative charge. For instance, with your dad and your sister, that may be tremendous in and of itself, but my guess is that you've experienced other losses. I know you've been through a divorce, you've whatever other losses you've had throughout your childhood and your adult life, that then when all of a sudden your dad or your sister passes even unexpectedly, it's almost like a compound fracture because it's now pushing against other losses that you've had even prior to them. And so that makes the pain almost unbearable. It's just too much. Even for myself, my father passed a couple years ago, and on the same day, one of my very best friends passed as well. And it just felt like an elephant stepped on me. So I have some sense of just consolidated loss. It's just, your mind can't hardly process it. So without further ado, I'll tell you a little bit about this technique, and then we will get on to using it, because what it does is it helps you to release the emotional charge from the pain and the grief. I call it a bear trap. It's almost like you've stepped into a bear trap and you can't get it off. It's like it's grabbed onto some limb of your body, and you're trying to move forward. You're mentally trying to move past it, but it's almost like you're dragging this thing with you, and it's really hard to think about anything else other than the pain of this thing. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to use this technique. Actually, you can use it just with your own fingertips. We usually use our index finger and our middle finger. Generally, you might involve more fingers than that. But what we do is it's called tapping. And we do tapping on different energy points on the body. These are the same energy points that we use for acupressure and acupuncture, but these are energy centers that are located closer to the surface of the skin, so you can actually access those with your fingertips. And as we tune into the grief and the sadness and the pain, and we tap on these points on the body, you'll find that the old emotional charges that you're holding right now in your physical body, those will begin to neutralize and dissolve. And it's a remarkable experience, and the best way to really to find out about it is to experience it firsthand. So anyone listening with us today, definitely feel free in terms of your own grief, your own losses, that you just join along with us. We can't hear you, so you can just talk right out loud and join along with our call. I'll try to use language that is somewhat general while still being specific to Yvonne's concerns. So from time to time, you will have to edit me, those listening, to put in your own words and make the process more personalized and customized. So Yvonne, just to let you know where some of these points are, one, if when you were a kid or even as an adult in the U.S., if we were to do the Pledge of Allegiance, how you put your hand up over your heart, and if you were to just press your fingertips right into that fleshy area where they fall on your chest, so it's right between your heart and between your collarbone, so right out in the center, it's kind of a fleshy area. We call that over the heart. Okay? So when I say go to the place over the heart, you would just tap right there. You can tap on that point, or you can even tap around in a little circle about the size of a quarter, and you'll be accessing that point with your fingertips. And you want to tap hard enough so that you feel it, but not so hard that it's causing you to feel pain or discomfort. But you don't want to go so light that really nothing's happening. Does that make sense? So it's like Goldilocks. You want to find the thing that sits right in the middle. Okay, so that'll be over the heart. Then there's another tapping point right on the top of your head. If you could, pull a string up from the top of your head, then it would be right there at the top of the head, and you could tap around, again, about the size of a quarter. And I do that because if you tap all in one spot, it actually can start to feel uncomfortable after a period of time. So if we go top of the head, you'll just go right up there to the top, tapping with your index finger and your middle finger. Okay?
Okay.
Generally, you would tap, maybe about 7 to 10 times, but you won't have to count because you'll be tapping while we're talking. And by the time we have completed our setup phrases and all those kinds of things, you will have tapped the perfect number of times. Okay?
Okay.
There's another tapping point on the inside of each eyebrow and, right over the bridge of the nose. So if you split your index finger and your middle finger about an inch apart, you could access both eyebrows at once. So your fingertips should be right on the inside of each eyebrow, right over the bridge of the nose. We're going to call that the eyebrow point.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So just kind of spread your fingers about an inch apart, and you can, go up and use your fingertip right on the inside of each eyebrow.
Okay.
Okay, so you just tap there gently. And then if we go to side of the eye, these are all very easily named so that you can remember easily. Right on the side of the eye, there's a bone socket. You can feel that bone socket that corners your eye. And right there is the side of the eye point. It's not back on your temple, back towards your ears. You don't want to go back there. So it's right there on the side of the eye, and you can tap on either the left side of your face or the right side of your face. So both of those would be side of the eye points.
Okay.
Okay. Another one is on your cheek, and it's straight down under the pupil of your eye, but on your cheek. So we'll call that one the cheek spot, or actually, let's call it under the eye.
Okay.
Okay. And again, it's on either cheek. And I'll guide you through it as we go through, but I'll use those words like side of the eye, under the eye. Now there's one under the nose, so it's just between your nostril and your upper lip. So just tapping right there in that area between your lip and your nose.
Okay.
Okay. Now there's another one on your chin point. So if you were pondering something and you were tapping on your chin, trying to think of something, that's about the right spot. So it's right on that upward-facing surface area of your chin, and right under the kind of the crease under your lip. It's right under that crease and right on the upward-facing area of the chin, and that's the chin point.
Okay.
Okay. There's another one called the collarbone. The collarbone is if you took your finger and run it down the middle of your neck, down all the way down, you'll feel a little U bone in your neck. And right up at the peak of each end of the U, there's a little bone there, and that's your collarbone. So right on that point where it goes from the U bone in your neck out to your shoulder blade, right on that point on either side of your neck, that's called the collarbone point. And again, you can tap there maybe in about the size of a dime, but anywhere on that point, you'll get good access to the collarbone point.
Okay.
Okay? Now let's see. There's another one that we're almost done here. It's not as complicated as it sounds. There's another one called the karate chop point. And if you go, you know how you karate chop something with, say, your left hand, go down to the base of your pinky finger, and right there on the fleshy area of your hand, the one that we would use for a karate chop, but it's closer to the base of your pinky finger while still being on the fleshy area, that is your karate chop point.
Okay.
Okay. And probably the last one we will use today, there's many other points, but the last one we will use is called inside the knees. And you can even take, I don't know if you have a head, are you holding the phone to your ear right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a headset, you could actually use both hands, but if you don't, then you would just take one hand and you tap inside your knee. So, your kneecap's there, you're going to come around to the inside of your legs and just tap right on the side of your knee. And we're going to just call that inside the knee point.
Both knees, Robin, or what?
You can do one at a time. If you're holding the phone, then you can just do one at a time. But you can alternate and just do a few taps on the inside of one and then a few taps on the inside of the other, and I'll guide you through that process.
Okay.
Okay. So all those make pretty good sense?
Yep.
Okay, and when I guide you back through, I'll use those words, and if you need any help along the way as you do the release, then you just tell me where is that again, and we'll go over it, okay?
Okay. Can I mention one thing that
You can mention whatever you'd like.
That 5 years ago, my only nephew committed suicide.
Ah, okay.
And that is something I should have mentioned because I have blocked that out so much because it was so painful.
Okay, see, that's part of our compound fracture then. So it's really good that you brought that up.
When you said that, it was like, oh my goodness, I hadn't even thought about that.
Right. Yep. That's going to be one of those root causes that is really causing this to be so unbearable.
Okay.
So how about if we start with him? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just could close your eyes for a moment, and is it all right if you give me his first name?
Andy.
What was it?
Andy.
Andy.
Yes.
All right. Were you pretty close to Andy?
Incredibly close.
Okay. And what happened for Andy that he committed suicide? What was everybody's best guess of what was going on for him?
Well, he became bipolar, and he had tremendous ups and downs, and my sister was not a good mother. She abandoned him when he was 3, and my own mother raised him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had him with me for a while.
How long did you have him?
Let me see, from the time my oldest was born, so 33 years ago, he moved in with me, so he would have been about 8.
Okay.
And then his mom tried to take him back and be a mom, but I just think she was too detached. She just didn't ever want to be a mother. And
but how long did you have him?
I had him on and off. Like whenever he'd get kicked out, he would come back and stay with me.
But he was almost like a son to you, probably, just being that level of involvement.
It was kind of like he was my younger brother because we were only 7 years apart, where my brothers and sisters and I were all 10 years and above over me. So he was very close to me. And, I mean, from the time he was born, I pretended he was mine.
Right.
And so when he called me, and I could tell it was the bipolar manic voice, and I didn't get the message till later in the day because I'd been gone, and I was scared to call him back because when he would rant and rave, it was very painful. And then the next day, he called his mother and shot himself in the head while he was on the phone with his mother.
Oh my goodness. How did you find out?
My mom called me, and my sister and my mom had been trying to call me, and that's how I found out, and I couldn't get out of bed for 17 days.
Oh, okay.
It was too much.
I'm so sorry. You've gone through so much, Yvonne. Okay.
Terrible.
Let's move on this a little bit. If you tune in right now to just him with Andy, and we probably already know the answer, but if you were to give that feeling of just whatever, what would you call it? It's probably beyond grief, but what would you call the feeling about him and hearing the news about him? Is it grief? Is it devastation? Is it overwhelm? Like, what kind of word would begin to summarize what is going on inside of you? Devastation. Yeah. So that feeling of devastation, if you were to give me a number, and that's only so we can see how we're doing as we go forward, but 10 being extremely intense, maybe it's even over a 10, that's okay, and 0 would be very neutral, but what number would you say you're at just tuning into it now?
10.
Yeah, I hear that in you.
I haven't talked about it for a while.
Oh, I'm so glad that you talked about it. And what I'd like for you to do now is just to tap over your heart. But you remember that over the heart area, right out in the middle, under your collarbone and above your heart. Just tap there with your hand and your fingertips. What I'd like you to do is just repeat after me, and then if I use any words that don't quite say it right, then I want you to just say whatever is in your heart instead of my words, okay?
Okay.
So let's begin and just repeat after me and say, even though.
even though
I went through this terrible situation
I went through this terrible situation
with my nephew, Andy.
Andy.
I love him.
I love him.
He was like my little brother.
He was like my little brother.
Almost like a son.
Almost like a son.
And I pretended he was mine.
I pretended he was mine.
And I tried to help him.
I tried to help him.
The best I knew how.
The best I knew how.
And then I found out.
That
he had taken his life.
That he had taken his life.
I am willing.
To
forgive myself.
To forgive myself.
I am willing.
To
forgive myself.
To forgive myself.
I did the best I knew how.
I want
you to go up on top of your head, and tapping right up on top of your head, say, I release all the sadness.
I release all the sadness.
All the pain.
All the pain.
All the grief.
All the grief.
And any guilt.
I
wanted to stop him.
And
I didn't know how.
I did not know how.
I knew he was in pain.
I
didn't know how to fix it. And go right up onto your eyebrow point, 2 fingers right on the inside of each eyebrow. I release all the sadness.
I will release all the sadness.
All the pain.
Breathe
deeply. Big, deep breath. I release all of this. He would want that for me. He loves me. And he would want me happy. Go to the side of the eye, tapping there. Say, I release all the grief. All the guilt. From this terrible situation. It wasn't for me to solve. Every soul has a journey. It is between them and the Creator. It wasn't for me to solve.
It was not for me to solve.
Let's go under the eye, on the cheek. I release all the pain. All the sorrow. All the shock. Of learning about this. And that he took his life. While he was on the phone. It was just too much to hear. Now go under the nose, between the nose and the lip, and say, I am willing. To release this. And keep all the love. That we have always had. I release all the grief. The feelings of devastation. But I make room.
I'm sorry.
But I make room. For all the love. To be kept forever. Now I want you to take a nice, big, deep, cleansing breath. How are you doing so far?
Feel good.
Better?
Better.
What number would you give me? Let's tune into Andy, and you can keep all the love you have for him. We're just releasing the pain. And the more that you release the pain and the grief, the more he can even communicate with you or leave you signals or even visit you in your dreams, or spirits can't get through all that grief. It's just too heavy. And so your willingness to release the grief will really help him to come to you in different ways that you'll be able to understand. So what number would you give it right now?
give me the ratio again.
The 10 is really high and almost dysfunctional or unbearable, and a 0 would be very neutral. It's not like you're happy about this at all, but it's just that you're not feeling the bite of the pain.
I don't feel the bite of the pain.
Oh, I'm so glad. Take another deep breath and just give that to yourself. Just letting it go and just filling up that space with light. Just taking a moment, and what's a beautiful memory you have of Andy?
Oh, my goodness sakes.
Let's pull one out.
Okay, one from far back was I put him in a stroller because back then parents let 8- and 9-year-old children take their kids for a stroller
back
ride.
In the good old days, right?
Yes, and I put on a pair of my mother's nylons because we didn't have pantyhose, and a pair of her heels, and I walked down my street.
And you were the proud mother.
I hoped people thought I was his mother because I just knew how much incredible love I had for this little soul.
I want you to just close your eyes and just breathe in that love. The love that you experienced that day and how proud you felt, and you were just feeling so grown up and just feeling your overflowing love for little Andy and his stroller. And I want you to just breathe it in and put it right into that space where you'd been feeling that sadness. And just anchor it in nice and deep, and then extend it up and just give way more love from that space. Give it all up and turn it over to Andy and say, Andy, we're right here. We know you're here. He's eternal. He's with you now. And just send out all that love from your heart. It's infinite, endless. So you can keep a whole bunch for yourself. You can send a whole bunch more over to him, and it will just lift him higher and higher so that he doesn't have feelings of guilt or sadness. So just surround him with your love. Just wrap him in it and just feel your oneness with him. Just breathe that in. Very good. How are you doing?
Good. Very good.
Good. All right. Is there anything else as you think about Andy, anything else that still troubles you, that, maybe you're disturbed that, his mom had that experience? Maybe you feel really awful about that this happened while she was on the phone, or is there anything that's still disturbing you that would keep you awake at night as you think about it?
It not pertaining to his death, but pertaining to the way my sister, who was his mother, treated him.
And what did you observe that was really troublesome?
It was terrible. It was never physical abuse. It was more emotional and mental, and he became a plumber, and he was so proud because he had to do everything on his own. And he got a new plumbing truck, and he was living about 4 hours away from us. And he drove here to surprise his mom and show her the truck. And she answered the door and told him, "What are you doing here? You can't just show up on my doorstep."
Right.
And
now, how did you hear about it? Did he tell you?
He came over to my house because she wouldn't let him there, and he was just devastated, and I hurt so bad for him.
Okay, let's get back over that heart. Start tapping over the heart. You're doing great. Say, even though, just say that after me.
Even though
I feel so much sadness.
I feel so much sadness
about what Andy went through.
About what Andy went through.
At the hands of my sister.
At the hands of my sister.
It was so hard on him.
It was so hard on him.
And I could see it on his face.
I could see it on his face.
I release all this sadness.
I release all this sadness.
I am willing to release it.
I am willing to release it.
And let it be replaced.
And let it be replaced.
With the love that we share.
With the love that we share.
Go up on top of the head. I release all the sadness.
I release all the sadness.
All the anger.
All the anger.
At my sister.
At my sister.
For her actions.
For her actions.
I'm willing to see.
I'm willing to see.
The truth of my sister.
the truth of my sister,
that there is a light in her,
that there is a light in her,
even if she has forgotten it.
Even if she has forgotten it.
I'm willing to see it.
I'm willing to see it.
Let's go on to the eyebrow point, just tapping there on the eyebrows. I'm willing to see it.
I'm willing to see it.
And that my nephew
is
God's child.
Is God's child.
He is eternal.
He is eternal.
He is filled with light.
He is filled with light.
And there is no person on this earth.
And there is no person on this earth
that can truly alter who he is.
Who can
alter who he is.
Who can alter who he is.
What God created in him.
What God created in him
cannot be taken from him.
Cannot be taken from him.
Go to the side of the eye. I am willing.
I am willing
to forgive my sister. Is that okay to say?
I'm trying very hard.
Okay, good job. I'm willing to forgive her on the foundation that what is in my nephew, as God created it, cannot be altered. He is eternal. And forever safe. And I will see him again. Under the eye, I will see him again. Keep breathing. I will see him again. And I look forward. With gratitude. To that day. He knows how much I love him. And I offer that love now. That he could find peace now. Just take a big, deep breath. You are doing great. Oh, good job. Just take a moment and tune into your sister and your nephew and see how the charge is there. What number do you come up with 10 being the most intense?
I feel better.
Is there anything that occurs to you, anything that's still holding out on you?
I think that after he died, she went back to work 5 days later.
So that was frustrating that it was almost like a speed bump.
So it wasn't that I was judging her, because I didn't mean that, but she kept saying everything was okay, and I don't believe everything was okay.
Right.
And she kept just pretending, and it was very frustrating, very upsetting for me, because I wasn't functioning. And then she got mad at me because she felt I grieved too much over it.
So let's go back over the heart. I am releasing. Just repeat after me.
Sorry, I'm blowing my nose.
Doing great.
I am
releasing all the pain.
All the pain.
All the frustration.
All the frustration.
Of watching my sister.
Go
right back to work. Almost like it didn't matter. And I was in bed. For 17 days. And I just couldn't get over it. And she was mad at me. And maybe I was mad at her. Okay. And go up on top of the head. I am willing. To release all the anger. All the feelings. That I had towards her. I've carried this long enough. Go up over the eyebrows. I am willing. To free myself. From this darkness. And these dark feelings. I am willing. To make room.
to make room
for the light within me,
to make room for the light within me,
to shine, expand for myself,
from myself,
and for my family.
and for my family.
Take a big breath. To see if, as your eyes are closed, is there any thoughts or pictures, feelings, impressions, anything coming forward that's
just his face.
Just the what?
Just his face, his sweet face.
And you're seeing his sweet face. How is the expression on his face right now?
Very peaceful.
Good.
With a smile.
So take a moment and tune into his face and his smile. And if he had a message for you right now, what is that message?
What I would want it to be would
just
be
the first thing that comes to your mind. That's how they communicate, is just through your thoughts. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? What would he want to tell you? What is it?
It's not your fault.
Yeah, that's exactly what he would say. How does it feel to hear that?
Amazing.
Just breathe that in.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault, sweetheart. Just breathe that in. Tap over your heart. It's not my fault.
Not my fault.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
That it's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
I only want happiness for him.
I only ever wanted happiness for him.
That's all I want for him.
That's all I want for him.
My part is to love him.
My part is to love him.
And I'm doing my part.
And I'm doing my part.
I'm not here to decide for him.
I'm not here to decide for him.
I'm here to love him.
I'm here to love him.
And I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Take a big breath. We can't take on every person's journey. We have our own journey and our own decisions and life challenges. So I just ask you today to just release this and know this was not for you to decide. And you did give him love. You were the one that throughout his life always gave him the helping hand and helped him to know that he was worthy of love, and having a new truck and being a plumber and going forward in his life. And look where he came right after it didn't work out at his own house. He came straight to you because he knew that you would remind him that you're proud and you're happy, right?
Yeah.
He knows who you are. So breathe that in. No more carrying this burden. You did your part. Just be with that.
Okay.
And he's okay. He's absolutely okay. He's probably way more okay than you or I right now. So we're just going to feel that smile from heaven and know that he wants you to release this, and that you could free him. Because when spirits feel guilty, that's when they kind of hang around and they hover over their loved ones, and they just feel so sad because, you know, they have a much broader perspective, and then they kind of wish they hadn't done what they had done. And can we just send him straight into the light together?
Yes.
Okay. So just close your eyes and tune into his beautiful smile. And Andy, we just offer this space to you to really acknowledge you and to thank you for all the love and that you gave and you shared as you were here, all of your contributions, for working your way all the way up to plumber and having a nice, great new truck, and just really being involved in life and being of service to others. And, you know, we're sorry things didn't go easier for you, and I'm sure that you're learning more now about how things can go better. But what we want you to do is release all guilt, Andy. Release all guilt, that you don't have any need for guilt in the way that you went out, and that we just want you to just rise straight up into the light of God and really claim it and own it. We need you on the other side of the veil because you have a broadened perspective. You have a greater view of what's down the road for all of us. So we just ask you to take your highest possible place in heaven to claim that light that you are, and guide us. Show us what we need to see. Talk to Yvonne and just be her beautiful chief guardian angel. We know that you already are, but it's a lot easier for you to do that without guilt. And so we just ask that you release all guilt and self-judgment and just give yourself your wings and accept your place in heaven. And we want that for you, and we receive that with you, that you belong right in the light of God where you have always been. So just take a deep breath in, Yvonne, and just send out love from your heart, almost like ushering him straight into that highest place of light. And this really does help them to release from this realm. Just breathing it in and knowing he is safe and sound, smiling ear to ear, and he is your angel, and you can call to him anytime. You can ask him for help with things. He has a much broader perspective. And then you'll get that beautiful thought or an answer to a question, and that will be directly from him, special delivery.
I feel calmer about it, much
Good.
calmer.
Anything else coming up about him?
No.
Okay.
No.
Would you like to go next to your dad or your sister? Which is the one that's the toughest one?
Well, my dad was difficult because it was out of nowhere. We didn't know he was going to pass, so I think I'm still in a little bit of shock over it.
And how did he pass?
He had chronic leukemia, and they told us he had 6 to 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And then 3 hours later, he switched from chronic to acute, and he died 3 hours after that.
Wow. So that is a real shock, right?
Yeah, it was, and it was just so close to, he died so that when my sister, it was so close to my first brother, my second brother, which was May, and then my dad, so soon right after, I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared.
Were you in the room with him when he passed?
Yes, I was.
Was it just you, or was there the whole family?
My mother, myself, and my 2 adult children were there.
So was everybody just shocked?
Well, it was, we were just so taken back, and the doctor said that, if there was a chance he lived, he would be on machines. And we knew that was not the life he wanted.
Right.
And
you were pretty close to your dad?
Very close.
Okay. What's been the hardest thing? What do you feel like it's cost you, and just in terms of experiences, or what's been the toughest part of this?
Out of my 2 parents, he was the one you could tell anything to, and I miss that relationship.
Okay.
And I just miss all his mannerisms, just his funny little quirks.
Right.
And I have no bitterness and no anger towards him at all. He was a wonderful dad and a terrific grandparent. He was a little gruff. He was one of 10, so nothing went to waste. But he was an amazing dad, and
that's great.
I'm grateful. But I miss him.
Okay.
If you my selfish.
Close your eyes for a moment.
I wouldn't want him to live in the pain that he was in, because the last year, when I looked back at it in retrospect, little things were starting to go wrong.
So it was really his time in a physical way.
It was his time,
right? Yeah. The hardest part is, those of us that are still here, that's where it's really hard, because I'm sure he's much more peaceful right now. But if you give this one a number, I know it's hard to give it a number, but it helps us to know when we've taken care of it. And what number would you give that feeling of grief about your dad's sense of loss?
Probably like an 8.
Okay. Where do you feel it in your body?
In my heart.
Okay. And if you were to give it a texture or a substance, is it like a rock or a lead weight or a blanket, or how do you experience it in your heart?
It feels like cement is in there, weighing my heart down.
Okay. And let's go ahead and tap over the heart and just repeat after me. I have this weight in my heart.
I have this weight in my heart.
And it's been there.
And it's been there.
Since my dad passed.
Since my dad passed.
I miss him.
I miss him.
I could tell him anything.
I could tell him anything.
I miss his mannerisms.
I miss his mannerisms.
And all the time we spent.
And all the time we spent.
It was such a shock.
It was such a shock.
A shock to my heart.
It was a shock to my heart.
They said he had 6 to 10 years.
They said he had 6 to 10 years.
And then he was gone.
And then he was gone.
Let's go up on top of the head. I release all the shock.
I release all the shock.
And the pain.
And the pain.
And the feelings of loss.
And the feelings of loss.
It happened so quickly.
It just happened so quickly.
That my heart couldn't bear it.
My heart couldn't bear it.
Let's go into the eyebrow point. I release this heaviness.
And say that again.
I release this heaviness.
I release this heaviness.
That feels like concrete.
That feels like concrete.
I've carried it long enough.
I have carried it long enough.
I keep all the love.
I keep all the love.
That we have shared between us.
That we had shared between us.
And I release all the pain.
And I release all the pain.
And the weight of the concrete.
And the weight of the concrete.
Go to the side of the eye. He would want that for me.
He would want that for me.
He loves me with his whole heart.
He loves me with his whole heart.
He would never want me to suffer.
He would never want me to suffer.
Or be weighed down by this.
Or weighed down by this.
Go on under the eye, right on the cheek point. And it was too much of a surprise.
And it was too much of a surprise.
And I think I held on to it.
And I held on to it.
But I need to put it down now.
But I need to put it down.
I will keep all the love.
I will keep all the love.
And release all the pain.
And release all the pain.
Go back over the heart. I release all the pain.
I release all the pain.
All the shock.
All the shock.
But I keep all the love.
But I get to keep all the love.
It is eternal.
It is eternal.
It is with me always.
It's with me always.
Just like he is.
Just like he is.
He's with me now.
I feel him.
All right. Breathe it in. And just be with him for a moment. Feel him. That's right. Breathe. Feel it. Let your heart open. Get every ounce of it. Breathe it in and feel him. He's been wanting to get through, but he can't get through all that grief. They can't get through cement. Just breathe it in. Tap over your heart if you need to. I just want you to breathe in all that love he has for you.
He has love for our whole family. I just feel it.
So breathe it in for the whole family. It's like a reunion. Let him smile on you again. Let him love on you again. Let him show you his love. Breathe. Tap over the heart so you can process his love. Let it come through. Got to break up all that concrete, just like a jackhammer of love. Jackhammer of love going at the heart right here. Just breathe it in. Open that heart back up. No more heaviness, no more concrete. Your heart is not meant to carry concrete.
No, it's not.
Just a beautiful light like he is. Just feel that light at the center of your heart expanding, just like a sunrise coming through the clouds. Just let that light unfurl, extend, and expand. Breathe it in. Do you see his face, or how do you experience him?
I see his face. And
what's he saying?
I see him with a kitchen apron on.
All right. What's he about to do?
Cook.
Okay.
And he was a terrible cook, and you should know that.
Did anybody tell him, or did they just eat?
We all just ate and pretended it was really good.
That's a good family right there. Well, tonight as you're cooking, just feel him around you. Wherever you are, he's guiding you, guarding you, protecting you. Feel that fatherly love. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket. If he had something to tell you right now, what do you think he'd say? What's the first thing?
Get off your butt and live your life. And
does that
stop
sound like him?
Being sad. That is him. And he would say, I have the last laugh because I'm at peace.
Right. So he's got to wait till you guys make your crossing, and then everybody can be in peace, right? So are you going to get off your butt and get on with your life?
I'm going to try.
So tell him, not me. Tell him. Take a moment and just tell him in your mind.
I'm gonna really try.
Yeah.
To stop missing you.
Yeah. He's there. Talk to him.
Rule my life. I just can't seem to move on.
Oh, okay, tap over your heart.
I have to.
Yeah, tap over your heart. Release it. All that concrete. I am willing.
I am very willing. I want to live.
I am determined. How about that? I am determined.
I am determined
to release this grief.
Move on and to release all this grief I feel.
Right. My Father's love.
My Father's love
will guide me.
Will guide me.
He's holding me now.
He's holding me now.
He will lift me.
He will lift me.
High above this feeling.
High above this feeling.
If I will let him.
If I let him.
Go up on top of the head. I will let him.
I will let him.
I will let his love.
I will let his love.
Shine through me.
Shine through me.
In the presence of love.
In the presence of love.
There is nothing to fear.
There is nothing to fear.
On the eyebrow point, in the presence of light.
In the presence of light.
There is no darkness.
There is no darkness.
I choose peace today.
I choose peace today.
About my Father.
About my Father.
He is one with me.
He is one with me.
I have never lost him.
I've never lost him.
He is not his body.
He's not his body.
Loss is impossible.
Loss is impossible.
He is with me now.
He is with me now.
I will see him again.
I will see him again.
In the way that I love.
In the way that I love.
I accept peace today.
I accept peace today.
Take a big breath. Exhale. How are you doing?
Very well.
How's it feel inside? How's your concrete?
Oh, it's broken up.
Good.
I feel very relaxed.
It's like a big load, like you've been carrying a backpack full of rocks. And then
over my shoulders, and I just feel like I've been carrying just big pieces of broken cement in big pillowcases for the last year.
And you can put them down. Now they're down.
Finally, yes.
And you can walk lightly and take all the love, Andy's love, your dad's love. You get to take all the love, but love doesn't weigh anything. It actually lifts you. So there's no burden. There's no heaviness.
No heaviness.
So when you go to your heart, what's there now? Is it just empty or clear? What do you see there?
It feels more clear. When I think of my dad, I can feel almost a lightness in my heart.
Great. Take a moment. What's one of your very happy moments with your dad? And I want you to tune into it right in the center of your heart. What is that happy story?
When I found out I was pregnant for the third time, 20 years later than the first child. I was not married. And I wasn't married, and my parents couldn't figure out what was wrong with me because I was sick all the time. And I was too scared to tell my mother. And I was 37 years old, but I told my dad, and he just started laughing and laughing. He said, and we thought we had to be worried about you. That's all
awesome.
It is. He says, well, we're moving to Texas because we're not babysitting. But
he's a character.
Yes, he was definitely a character. And he did babysit, and he did not move to Texas.
Well, you just breathe in that good babysitting laughter.
Yeah.
Breathe it right into the center of the heart. Make sure all that concrete has been cleared away. Just see it as a beautiful, golden, wonderful divine light just flowing right through the center of your heart. Fill up the heart. Send it out like rays of the sun throughout the body. Just letting it bring light to every cell relaxing and releasing. And breathing in, almost like hitting a reset button. You have it within you. Just hit reset. Oh, it feels so good. No more carrying the load, no more trying to hold it up, knees buckling. Now you actually get wings and you get to float. You're not your body, you are spirit. And as you release all these heavy feelings of the body, you'll be much more tuned in to the spirit that you are, much lighter. How are you doing?
Oh, very good.
Let's talk about your sister. This is the one that was challenging with your nephew?
This is the one I have the most difficult time with.
And then what happened to her?
2 months after her son killed himself, she took a terrible horseback riding fall and broke her arm in 9 places. And then it turned into reflex sympathy disorder, which basically means she turned into like a hemiplegic, where she was paralyzed on one side, but it was emotional based.
Right.
And then she kept having this pain in her legs, and they kept saying it was the RSD. Well, we found out she had lung cancer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So she went into a real stage of illness there, huh? After
right.
her son. Yeah.
So
do this.
there was this weird feeling of remembering how 5 days after he died, she went back to work, and how she kept saying she was okay. Well, if she was okay, these things wouldn't have happened to her.
So how does that feel for you? Just
it makes me mad at her. I'm livid. She was a terrible sister, and I want her to be at peace, but I'm so bitter and so angry.
Let's tap into that real quick. So I can't let go of this anger because, and just see what your words are. I can't let go of this anger because.
I can't let go of this anger because she judged me her whole life. My whole life she judged me, and she should have been looking at herself.
And that made me angry because.
And it made me angry because she always made me feel less than her. And always made me feel like I wasn't as good. And I wasn't as important. At every family get-together, she had to be center stage. And then I would leave the room and she would talk about me. She wasn't a very kind person.
What do you feel like that cost you? And did it cost you family relationships? Did it cost you your relationship with her? Like, what's the real sadness about how she acted and how it played out?
We couldn't have family get-togethers with her there. She didn't like to hear little kids because they were too loud.
So you feel like it cost you, like, family gatherings in a way?
All the family gatherings. And then out of nowhere, she wouldn't speak to me or my mother. And we never could figure it out, why this was going on.
So it kind of cost you some brain cells just trying to figure it out, I guess, right? Just a lot of time, anguish.
And a lot of bitterness. I mean, I'm still bitter now. I'm bitter that she gave up. I'm bitter because, number one, she told me she was terminal at my brother's funeral. And I thought that was so disrespectful for our brother.
Yeah.
Number two, I'm bitter because she didn't fight and didn't try.
Right. You mean in
she
terms
just
of
gave
her own
up.
death and not,
And she smoked. Even 3 days before she died, she was still smoking. And I just was so angry with her for not trying and for leaving me. I mean, I'm the only one left.
Yeah, okay. Let's do this one, okay? You're doing great. I want you now to tap on the side of your left hand on that karate chop point. We'll just switch gears a little bit and just repeat after me. I am so angry at her.
I am so angry at her.
I'm still bitter.
And still bitter.
Because she left me.
Because she left me.
She didn't fight.
She didn't fight.
She had lung cancer.
She had lung cancer.
And she was still smoking.
She still smoked.
And it made me so angry.
And it made me so angry.
Because she didn't fight.
She didn't fight.
And she left me alone. What?
She left me alone. She started drinking and taking pills. And
she seemed to make it worse.
Yes, and drove with my child in her car.
Oh, okay. So go back up over the heart. I'm so mad at her.
I'm so mad at her.
She drove with my child.
She drove with my child.
In her car.
In her car.
When she was under this influence.
When she was under the influence.
And
she
it was
could have put
wrong.
him in danger.
She put him in danger.
I
release all the pain. Just stay with me. I release all the pain.
I release all the pain.
All the anger.
All the anger.
I don't want to carry this.
I don't want to carry this anymore.
I can't be peaceful and angry at the same time.
I can't be peaceful and angry at the same time.
And I want peace.
And I really want peace.
Let's go up on top of the head. I am willing.
I am willing.
I am determined.
I am determined.
To release my anger.
To release my anger.
Happily, my child is okay.
Happily, my child is okay.
And so I can release this.
So I can release this.
I've carried this long enough.
I have carried this long enough.
I'd rather be a happy person.
I'd rather be a happy person.
Than an angry person.
Than an angry person.
Tap over on the eyebrow point. I release all the frustration.
I release all the frustration.
Of my sister's actions.
Of my sister's actions.
She mistreated me.
She mistreated me.
She would talk about me.
She would talk about me.
She screwed up our family gatherings.
She screwed up our family gatherings.
She made everything miserable.
She made everything she touched miserable.
Trying to be the center of attention.
Always trying to be the center of attention.
And if she was at peace with herself.
And if she was at peace with herself.
She probably wouldn't have done that.
She probably would not have done this.
Side of the eye, on that eye socket, I am willing.
I am willing.
To forgive my sister.
To forgive my sister.
It's really hard.
It is really hard.
She gave me lots of evidence.
She gave me lots of evidence.
To be mad at her.
To be mad at her.
But as I free her.
But as I free her.
I free myself.
I get to free myself.
Under the eye, as I free my sister.
As I free my sister.
I am free myself.
I am free myself.
My family needs me to be free.
My family needs me to be free.
I need to be free.
I need to be free.
I'm willing to give this to her.
I'm willing to give this to her.
That I could have it for myself.
That I could have it for myself.
Take a big breath. Exhale. We're going to go about another 5 minutes today just because we started about 5 minutes in. So just take another big, deep, deep breath, opening that heart. Feel your dad's love, Andy's love, even your sister's love. She comes from a much different place. When she's out of her body, she has a much more expanded awareness. If she were to give you her love today, would you let it in?
Well, yes.
Okay.
All I ever wanted.
Let's just let it in, sweetie. Just imagine having that sisterly love around you, the friend that you wanted, the one that you wanted to love you. Just tap over your heart and say, I am willing.
I'm willing.
To receive my sister's love.
To receive my sister's love.
To forgive her.
To forgive her.
To release the pain.
To release the pain.
I am willing.
I am willing.
To see the light in her.
To see the light in her.
Even if she couldn't see it.
even if she couldn't see it.
I could do that for her.
I can do that for her.
And in this way,
I do it
for myself.
I do it for myself.
Take a big breath. Exhale. How are you doing?
Good.
Just tune in with your eyes closed and just see if there's anything else coming up about your sister that is still hanging there, wanting to be released.
Nothing that my sister caused. It caused a divided family when she died.
And how was that hard for you? What happened as a result?
My brother-in-law, her husband, his sisters threw a celebration of life party and did not invite my mom or myself or my children.
Okay. So that hurt, right?
That really hurt.
Okay, let's go back to the heart. If it still can handle a little more tapping, let's do some tapping. They threw the celebration of life. Let's repeat after me.
I'm sorry.
They threw a celebration of life.
They threw a celebration of life.
For my sister.
For my sister.
My family wasn't invited.
My family was not included at all.
It was hard on all of us.
It was hard on all of us.
Now let's go to the other side of the chest, right where the heart spot is. Just go to the other side, out in the middle there. I release all the sadness.
I release all the sadness.
And the anger.
And the anger.
That we weren't included.
That we were not included.
In our own sister's celebration.
In our own sister's celebration.
It was painful.
It was painful.
I've carried this long enough.
I have carried this long enough.
Go up on top of the head. I am willing.
I am willing.
To choose peace instead of this.
To choose peace instead of this.
On the eyebrow point, I am willing.
I am willing.
To forgive this family.
To forgive this family.
Everyone was in pain.
Everyone was in pain.
With her passing.
With her passing.
Her son's passing.
Her son's passing.
Everyone was in pain.
Everyone was in pain.
Not thinking clearly.
Not thinking clearly.
Not coming from love.
And not coming from love.
They were coming from fear.
Coming from fear.
And judgment.
And judgment.
Side of the eye, I am willing.
I am willing.
To take a stand for love.
To take a stand for love.
In the presence of love.
And in the presence of love.
There is nothing to fear.
There is nothing to fear.
Take a big, deep breath. Just anchor it all down and through your heart. Let's just bring in your sister just for a moment. If you imagine her right in front of you, what's the expression on her face? How's she doing?
She's peaceful.
Is she looking at you or looking away?
No, she's looking at me.
What would she want to tell you? What's the first thought that comes to mind?
I love you. I know she loved me.
Okay. Just take a moment and let her know about your love. And let her come to you. Feel that embrace.
I loved you, but I needed you to be my sister.
Tap over your heart while you're hugging. Tap over your heart. I loved you so much, but I needed you.
I loved you so much, but I needed you. I needed you to be my sister.
And I was mad at you for a long time.
I was mad at you for years.
But I want to feel your love.
But I want to feel your love.
And I'm an eternal being.
And I'm an eternal being.
And if I let that love in.
And if I let that love in.
I have it forever.
I have it forever.
I will never be without it.
I will never be without it.
Ever again.
Ever again.
Take a big breath. Feel her love all around you. Bring in your dad's love, Andy's love, just like a big cloud pillow of love around you. I want you to feel that deep, wonderful insulation. In the presence of that love, darkness can no longer come to you. You are insulated in that love. It is the love of God as it shines through each one in your life. Just breathe it in and let it be there, accepting it without hesitation, without judgment, without pain, no more concrete, just breathing in that delicious, beautiful, refreshing love like air. Breathing it in, letting it circle through and around and from your body, extending out like light. Just anchoring it deeply, knowing it is yours forever. It's simply a letting go or an undoing of what is not the truth of you. This love has always been there. Let it shine, let it extend, letting it be there without any hesitation. How are you doing?
Very well.
Any others that are coming to mind here?
No. I mean, I lost the boys, both boys, but it was different. I mean, I don't know why it was. I think I never had a bad relationship with them to begin with.
Right. So there was like some unfinished business, huh, with the others?
And with my brothers, I spent the last year knowing them as well as I could because I was preparing. But with my sister, it was like she just went downhill so fast. She just gave up.
Well, why don't we finish with a quick prayer? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Just take a nice, big, deep breath, just drawing it all in. And this is for everyone on the line here today. Dear God, we just thank you for this time together, that all of us together could be willing to release the sadness, the heaviness, the pain, the darkness, whatever it is that we are carrying that is weighing us down or holding us back. Today we offer it to you completely. Take it from us and heal it for us. Let us not use it for our despair or our unhappiness. Let you use it for the coming of our peace. Thank you for guiding our path. Thank you for lifting us high above our situation. We draw from you tremendous strength. Today we ask you for that strength. Thank you for infusing us with it, that we would feel so lifted, as if we have lost 10 or 20 pounds, just feeling so much lighter today as we go forward, letting the path open. As we look forward on our path, thank you for removing all obstacles. We choose peace. We have no interest in pain or grief or loss or grievances or judgments. We choose love to be our guide. We have learned through pain, and pain has served us at times, but now we can learn to have joy and love as our teacher, as our guide. Today we thank all of those beautiful spirits that have been in Yvonne's life and everyone else who has joined us and their spirits that have passed on. We thank you all for the love that you stand for, the love you represent. And today we acknowledge your purity, your innocence, your sinlessness, that whatever you did or did not do, you are forgiven. Rise right into the light of God where you can see clearly, see way down the road because we can use your help here. And we thank you for your constant love and guiding protection. And we will talk with you and think of you and hold you in our hearts. And we thank you for just being around to cheer us up, put something out there that we know that you're there until we can see you again in a way that is very familiar. Dear God, thank you in advance for this healing, that we could feel absolutely at peace with it. And if there's any part of it remaining, that you would show us how to release that as well. And so we join together now in the presence of one another in acknowledgement that we are one with each other, one with God, that our interests are the same, and that we stand in gratitude today, the celebration that in the presence of light there is no darkness. So I thank you, Yvonne, for joining me. You've been amazing And I love you so much. And
I love you too, Robin. Thank you.
You feeling better?
I feel better. I do.
Good. I'm so glad. Well, I love everyone on the line. I hope you have enjoyed listening in. And Yvonne, thank you for being the champion on this one for us. If anyone has another topic that's listening that would like to go through a topic and share with everyone else in this way, please contact us at Robin at ROBIN at miraclecenterofca.com. I have a couple of free, helpful resources if people don't have that already. One is ACIMaudiolessons.com. That is 365 lessons with commentaries on A Course in Miracles. And you can receive those daily, and they're very helpful and free, all good. And the other one is the Miracles in Prayer Handbook. It's 150 prayers for everyday living. So whoever's listening, you can just do a flip open and find a prayer, or look it up by topic. And you can even tap on those tapping points we've been using. You can tap along with the prayers. Just read the prayer out loud, tapping on those points that we used, and you'll find tremendous relief at the other end. So if anyone has any comments or would like to share their experience today, please email us. Send that to Robin at miraclecenterofca.com. And just sending out a lot of love. We have coming up next year, I think it's in May, we have a healing retreat. It's 3 days, and we will be doing some very intense healing work and really releasing all these kinds of things so that we don't have to carry them with us. And I'm an instructor for hypnotherapy and EFT and life coaching and all those kinds of things. So I will bring all my tools into that retreat, and we will have a great time as we together release what is no longer useful. So I love you, Yvonne. Have a great afternoon.
I love you, Robin.
Talk to you soon.
Robin.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.